These are the best espresso grinders of 2025.
We've got some heavy hitters on this list today, so we're just gonna dive right in, starting with our fan favorite. This is the Eureka or a Minion single dose. I love this grinder and it is a personal favorite of mine. It's the one that I have at home and I use every day. First off, it's beautiful. The stock wood accents against the metal frame really make a bold statement. This grinder features Eureka's 65mm diamond inside burrs, which grind incredibly fast and consistent. It even grinds ultra light roasted coffee with no problem. Light roasted coffees by their nature are more dense than darker roasted coffees, which expand greater as they go further in the dark roast process. So grinding well with light roast is difficult to do and a triumph when it shows up well. The tilted design of this grinder keeps retention really low, and the added bellow here makes it pretty much zero. The overall workflow of this grinder is really straightforward. Of course, we have the bellow, but it also comes with our dosing cup and stable base. Since it's all set up in this same position here, it's actually one of the cleaner grinders that I work with. Others, you end up with coffee grounds and more spots on the counter than you would like. It's all set up to come right into the dosing cup, which I prefer for my setup at home. In addition to that, it's also got some really nice noise insulation. This is not a very loud grinder in my 1 to 2 room away category. This grinder is for any home barista that doesn't mind the process of single dosing, weighing out each dose time and time again, and then grinding through fully. It is espresso specialized, so if you like to do multiple brew methods, it's best supported with a filter coffee grinder for those methods, and this is dedicated for espresso. One of my favorite things about single dose optimized grinders is the ability to switch out from one coffee to another with relative ease. I like to keep a little journal for my coffee settings next to my grinder, so that way I can track those settings. I like regular coffee, my wife drinks decaf, so the ability to switch back and forth is really, really nice. And sometimes when you switch between coffees on other grinders, purging is a necessity to clear out any of the old coffee that was built up. That's not really needed with this grinder. It's really good at pushing all the coffee out. So when you're switching back and forth, so long as you go to the right grind setting, you're going to get the result you're looking for. Next up, we have the Fiorenzato Allground Sense. This is a grind by weight, all-in-one grinder. This grinder is perfect for a household that has a bunch of coffee drinkers and they all have their own preferred method. Sometimes you hear jack of all trades, master of none. This grinder, for me at least, is an exception. It does great in its super fine espresso ranges, does great in its mocha pot, and even in its filter coffee range. It truly tastes good at every setting. There's truly no sacrifice in quality within each of its set ranges. The way it covers this entire grinding range is through a micrometric stepped adjustment. A graduated stepped adjustment system that is small and subtle, but gives you a reliable setting to return to, making it flexible for espresso, but easy to take those big swings out to coarser settings. One of the greatest joys I have interacting with this machine is how easy it is to clean. You can completely access the grinding chamber, the chute, without needing any tools. It all just clicks out and then clicks back in. With this grinder, I definitely want to note, particularly if you're changing from a filter coffee range into an espresso range, you'll want to purge it before making that big change, so that way you don't force a jam in the grinder. When we move to a finer grind setting, we physically are moving the burrs closer together, and if it's not currently running or empty, we can pinch it and have a lot of extra strain on our motor that we'd want to avoid. Obviously, this is a big grinder. It's about the size of a really nice blender like a Vitamix. It's 20 pounds, so you're not gonna be wanting to move it too frequently. And we are at 17.5 inches tall, which is just half an inch under standard cabinet height. So be aware that if it's going under cabinets, it might not have a lot of headroom. There are a lot of reasons why this grinder made the best features in our opinion. I am a really big fan of how intuitive the menu is to interact with. It just makes a lot of sense. If ever you do get stuck on this, something that I really appreciate is that as the grinder is starting up, it actually shows a QR code that will take you right to the manual of this machine. A lot of modern appliances don't actually come with physical manuals, so it's kind of hard to find exactly the manual for your product. Since it's featured here, I just find that convenience really, really nice. Now it's time for our ultimate pick this year. This is the Eureka Atom W65. There's a video series I've done where I've been making recommendations for machines for former baristas. This is a machine that would definitely make the list. It is a commercial grade machine designed for home use. This grinder features a grind by weight system with 3 different programmable dose settings. When it comes to the grind quality on this grinder, it's fantastic. It makes really powdery coffee grounds with essentially no clumping. And surprisingly, even though it's such a powerful grinder, it's very quiet thanks to its insulated case. Later on, we'll be doing a side-by-side sound test for all of the grinders, but I just like bringing that up because of how quiet this grinder is. This is a really big grinder. It's not quite as massive as a commercial designed grinder, but at just over 21 inches tall and weighing in around 25 pounds, this is not going to fit everywhere in most kitchens. If fitting it in your kitchen is a problem, there is a separate short hopper that will bring it down about 5 inches, making it fit under your cabinets. The tall hopper can hold nearly 700 grams of coffee, and the short hopper can hold about 300. That's the difference of about 1.5 pounds of coffee beans or your standard 12-ounce bag. Something that I really like is the auto grind feature that surprised me when I first interacted with the grinder. It makes the daily workflow a breeze and dialing in super simple. By just setting the portafilter and the grinder starts right away, it's really satisfying to interact with. I'm pretty sure this works by the scale recognizing the portafilter in place. Once it tears out and the weight is ready, the grind mechanism starts and runs right up to your pre-programmed dose. The Atom W65 is truly an end-game prosumer level espresso grinder. It's powerful, precise, and gives you recipe control with any coffee, all while keeping things super easy in the day-to-day workflow. And finally, we have our honorable mention this year, the Rancilio Stile. Out of all of the grinders we talked about today, this one is the smallest and quietest. It's rocking 58mm flat burrs with micrometric stepped adjustment, which makes dialing in really straightforward. The portafilter fork is also super steady, making it easy to go hands-free while grinding. Even though this grinder is compact and small, it's got a really sturdy, heavy metal case and features a removable hopper. The touchscreen on this grinder is a little tricky. It's not particularly intuitive. However, once you get the hang of it, it has more flexibility than some other grinders. You can switch between a manual portafilter activation, a timed portafilter activation, or a timed touch activation, depending on your preferences. In the manual portafilter activation mode, you're just essentially going to engage the brewing switch and it will run as long as that switch is engaged. In the timed portafilter mode, when you push the activation switch with the portafilter, it will run the timed program that you have set up. And in the timed touch, you'll set the portafilter in place and then press go to run your time program. When it comes to adjusting the grind settings, this grinder feels really satisfying to interact with, and from setting to setting, it has this nice little responsive click. We'll see if we can hear some of that, but just really fluid and nice as you go from setting to setting. Also, when it comes to cleaning this grinder, it can be a little bit tedious. Obviously, the daily cleaning is super straightforward. Wipe it down, that's super easy. but the deep cleaning becomes difficult because of the mechanically threaded burrs. It's very hard to get into that system and a bit of a chore. Personally, I recommend using a grinder cleaner like Grinds, so that way you don't have to get into that deeper cleaning as often. That all goes to say that this is still an excellent grinder and truly ideal for a prosumer level person who is really wanting to fine-tune their grind and for whom noise is a priority. This is a very quiet grinder that won't wake up the household, and we're gonna hear that in our grinding test in just a few moments. So now we're gonna do a little sound test. Something that I found is decibel ratings aren't necessarily as informative as I want them to be. So I like having them sound one right after the other so you get an idea of their tone, and I'll make a comment on how loud they are and how far away I think you can hear it. With the Oro single dose, this is a pretty quiet grinder. I'd say it has a room or two away where you can hear it. The Allground Sense here is probably gonna be the loudest of the four of these. 2 to 3 rooms away, it has a fiercer motor sound that I think would resonate a little bit more. Quietest so far with the Atom W65. The bigger frame here just really insulates the noise. This is a 1 to 2 room away grinder. And then quietest overall with the Stile. Super, super quiet operation. This is a 1 room away / you might not even hear it outside of the kitchen. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and check out our other top 3 coffee gear videos for 2025. Yeah.